Want to hear us talk about communication?
We're not talking about communication.
Yes, we are. We talked about this.
Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Josiah.
And I'm Bethany.
Welcome to One True Pair.
The not-so-common-sense guide to godly relationships. Today we're talking about how important communication is in a relationship. So to start off, we want to talk about how talking about everything is super important. So if something's important to you, then it needs to be important to the other person. So you should be able to share your feelings with someone else about anything else. So if you bring a situation to the table and you start talking to them about it, but you never tell them how you actually feel about it, you're not really gonna get anywhere. They're not learning more about you in that. You have to be able to tell them how it's affecting you and how it makes you feel. And as the person listening, you also have to be able to ask them, oh, how does that make you feel? Or be able to decipher, why are they telling me about this? Oh, it must be affecting them in some way. So you have to be willing to share your emotions with someone when you're in a relationship with them.
Yeah, I think there's an honesty to communication, honest communication that's really necessary in relationships. You know, that you are completely honest with them. I think a lot of times we don't communicate maybe exactly what's going through our minds or exactly what's on our hearts because we feel like maybe they'll look at us differently or that we feel like pressure to be who they expect us to be, react how they expect us to react instead of, you know, really sharing truly what's on our hearts. But I think what helps relationships grow the fastest is really honest communication.
So oftentimes people put up this facade because they're worried that if they show their emotions to the person that they like, that will make them less desirable, which isn't true because by sharing your emotions, you're allowing the other person to understand you better, so you end up growing closer through that. And by sharing your emotions, it's not going to make the other person like you any less if they like you for the right reasons. If you know someone well and you're able to share something with them, then it will end up pushing you closer and it's not going to pull you apart because you understand them better. And so now, as we talked about the little onion, you have a little bit deeper of a wedge in there.
Communication also really helps get you on the same page. I think a lot of people get to a point in their relationship where they don't even realize that they fundamentally disagree or don't work well together as a team, not necessarily because it's so obvious in the way that they interact, but more because they haven't really communicated about things that are really important. You know, we talk a lot about asking questions, asking the right kind of questions. Speaking of which, we've got an ebook if you want to check it out, link in the description, because you'll also get to know a lot quicker if this is kind of somebody that really fits to you well or not. Communication really allows you to get on the same page as the other person. And in the positive sense too, if you are a good fit with the other person, you're able to figure that out a lot quicker and really work together as a team, work on with each other's strengths a lot quicker if you're communicating about every aspect of your relationship and really talking about everything and really growing together as a couple.
We broke this down into like effective and ineffective communication when we were talking about this. And so ineffective communication is shutting someone down when they're trying to tell you about something and how it makes them feel. If I brought a problem that I was struggling with and I was like sharing it with Josiah and he's in any way delegitimize, that's not a word.
Fair enough, sounds good to me. I mean, it sounds bad, but you know. You get it works.
Then I would stop communicating and I would shut off. But he doesn't do that. He's great about it.
Stop.
But if I brought a problem and he asked questions and said, oh, you know what, that's important to you. Tell me more. I want to know why that's important to you. That's going to strengthen the relationship right there. And then that opens it up for me to share and to be like, what do you think about it? How does that make you feel? And so it opens up communication and we both grow in our relationship with each other.
So here's a tool that I think is really practical to use. Before I mention the tool, we get questions a lot from different couples with issues that mainly go back to miscommunication or where somebody said something, somebody else got offended, took offense at it. This is really a practical tool that I really like to use that helps kind of cut to the chase and really get you on the same page as the other person. So instead of taking offense at what somebody says, try using kind of this formula. I hear you saying this. Is that what you're actually saying? You know, I hear that you're saying, you know, kind of such and such. Am I, you know, understanding that properly? Is that kind of what you mean? I feel like I might be misunderstanding you. Could you clarify that a little bit? It helps kind of show the other person kind of where you're coming from, where you kind of feel like they're coming from, and kind of allow them to clarify. You know, 9 out of 10 times it's like, no, that's not what I meant at all. So it's a really very helpful tool to get on the same page as the other person. It helps resolve a lot of conflict just to kind of talk through things. Again, communication is such a wonderful tool. if you use it effectually. We'll mention this tool and a few others on proper communication and other important communication skills. We'll mention that in our next episode.
Bottom line is you can learn how to communicate more effectively by listening to people and trying to understand how they feel.
This is all that we got for today. So if you're getting any value out of this, feel free to hit that subscribe button and share us with all your friends and family and strangers that you run into on the street. It helps too. Get in touch if you've got any questions, and we'll see you in our next episode next week. Woo!